Hi, this is Jonathan Rotz, field agronomist with Pioneer, and as we continue this discussion of how to get 10% better, just making ourselves a little bit better in a lot of places, we're continuing this discussion about fertility. Moving on to potassium. Potassium is a huge influencer in a lot of the metabolic processes in our plants. Potassium is basically the key element that's driving the pump. It does a lot with energy transfer and things as well, but we won't necessarily get into a lot of that today. When we think what we're asking a plant to do, we're asking it to photosynthesize, right? Take the sun's light, turn it into energy, and then move that energy all through that plant and build the plant, create a fruiting body, whether that be a soybean, corn ear, whatever that we're going to harvest later on, right? We're actually harvesting sunlight. And as we do that and we move all these constituents around in the plant, potassium's a big part about that. It does a lot of other things as well, but that's one of the big primary things that I like to focus on with guys is getting all of these carbohydrates and everything moved throughout the plant and transferring energy. So as we think about that, and then think about all the other important things potassium plays with keeping stalks strong and just a myriad of things. Potassium is one of the things that we really want to pay attention to. This gets extremely important when we think about removing any kind of biomass, because the vast majority of potassium is actually taken up through the vegetative stage of the plant's growth, not specifically through that reproductive stage. So a lot of our potassium is in that vegetative growth of the plant. If we take silage off, we're removing potassium. If we take fodder, if we take straw, all these things, we are removing potassium. Potassium is very soluble. So even if we would allow fodder to overwinter or things like that, a lot of the potassium will actually get out of the fodder and back into the ground. But typically, we take grain harvest, and if we're going to harvest fodder, quickly pull that afterwards. It's going to take that potassium with us. This isn't necessarily a negative other than the fact that we have to understand that we're moving that off of the field, meaning that we're going to have to bring that potassium back on, whether that's through manure, commercial fertilizer, whatever else. This becomes a huge thing when we start talking about multiple croppings that we're taking off lots of dry matter, I think specifically in our double crop silage situations. So what does all this mean? Keep an eye on your potassium levels on your soil test and be ready, even if you have a lot of manure, to maybe have to supplement with some commercial potassium because it's such a critical part of our plant's growth. I hope you found this information helpful and informative. Again, we could go in much deeper. Feel free to contact myself or your Pioneer sales rep for more information. Thanks and have a great day.
That concludes this Pioneer Agronomy video podcast. Visit our page on pioneer.com and follow us on Twitter and Facebook for more agronomy insights.